Hello, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to continue talking about sports. So first, I want you to think about this. Have you ever gone snowboarding? If not, would you like to? Why? Please think about this before class so we can discuss. Great. Now, I want you to please listen to this conversation between Sarah and Kyle. Kyle wants to go snowboarding, but Sarah tells him to stay in the beginner section. Why? Please listen and answer.
Hi, I'd like to rent a snowboard, please.
Okay. Have you ever been snowboarding?
No, but I've skied before.
Well, we offer lessons. You don't have to take them, but it's a good idea. You'll learn the basics.
All right. When is your next lesson?
At 11 o'clock. You've got to complete this form here to sign up.
No problem. What else do I need to know?
After your lesson, you should stay in the beginners section for a while. It's safer for the other snowboarders.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, you must wear a helmet. Oh, and you ought to wear sunscreen. The sun can be very strong.
Okay? Great. So, why does she tell him to stay in the beginner session? Well, because it is safer for the other snowboarders. Great. Now, why do you think it's a good idea for Kyle to take the lessons? Would you do the same? And why? Please think about this before your class. Great. Now, I want you to please read these sentences. Classify them into necessity, recommendation, or lack of necessity. For example, you don't have to take a lesson. Does that express necessity? Is that a recommendation or is it lack of necessity? Yeah, in this case, it is lack of necessity, meaning that it is not a necessity. Great. Now pause the video and continue matching. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and check. So, like I said, the first one is lack of necessity. You'd better be back before dark is a recommendation. You ought to wear sunscreen. Recommendation. You must wear a helmet. Necessity. You should stay in the beginner section. Recommendation. You've got to complete this form. Necessity. You have to listen to your instructor. Again, is a necessity. You shouldn't go in the advanced section. It's a recommendation. Very good. So if you notice here, the necessities are the things that you need to do that you have to, there is not an option. Recommendations, you decide if you want to do them or not. However, well, it's a good idea to do them. And lack of necessity, things you don't really have to do. Very good. Now, let's go to our workbook, page 94, exercise number 2. Here, we're going to circle the correct expressions to complete each of the sentences. For example, number 1 says, necessity. You don't have to, you must, or you'd better fill out this form before you go paragliding. You must. Let's do number 2. Recommendation. Sandra plan her vacation before she goes. Doesn't have to, must, or ought to. That's right. The answer would be ought to. Pause the video and continue with the rest, please. Okay, let's check. Number 3. You don't have to wear warm clothes when rock climbing in the summer. 4. Nancy and Carol have to wear heavy boots when they go snowboarding. 5. You'd better take sunglasses when you go whitewater rafting. 6. Jorge doesn't have to go skydiving if he doesn't want to. 7. I've got to pay for my kitesurfing lessons before I can take the first lesson. 8. Sue and Teddy shouldn't go bungee jumping. It is very dangerous. Excellent. Now, let's work in exercise 3. Here, we need to complete the article with must or should. Are these recommendations or are these things you actually have to do? How to get your flight started. Airports have a lot of rules. Here are some tips to help you get through the airport faster. You should print your boarding pass at home if possible. It is a good idea to have your ticket, right? Next one. You get to the airport early. It is a good idea to arrive an hour before your flight. Here we're going to use should. Again, this is a recommendation. You have to have your passport or other ID. You cannot get on the plane without one of them. In this case, we have to use most, right? Because it's something that is mandatory. It is a necessity. 4. You take off your shoes at security. They won't let you go through with them. You must. 5. You should wear shoes that are easy to take off. You will move faster. Very good. Okay, let's continue. Now, working exercise 4 in page 95 in the workbook. Circle the correct words to complete the instructions. Please pause the video while you work on this. Okay, great. So we already know that number 1 is have to. Number 2, you'd better. Guys, we're going to continue checking during class, okay?